Hey guys, Mike here. So today, I'm here to talk to you about 1931's City Lights, starring Charlie Chaplin as the tramp. In City Lights, a dewy-eyed tramp attempts to help a sightless woman with her money troubles with the help of an erratic, wealthy man. And so we have City Lights. So guys, today's movie was requested by one of my subscribers, Dragon Mobile Gaming, who suggested that I watch some of Charlie Chaplin's old movies. And I gotta say, this is easily the oldest movie I've ever seen in my entire life. Definitely the oldest movie I've ever reviewed as well. Before watching this film, the oldest movie that I watched all the way through was The Wizard of Oz. But as well, an even older movie that I'd seen was the original Frankenstein movie, but I don't remember if I'd watched it all the way through. But with Wizard of Oz, I definitely know I've seen that all the way through. But now, City Lights is the oldest movie I've seen all the way through. Now, obviously, I've known about Charlie Chaplin for many years. He's influenced so many performers over the years, and it cannot be understated his contribution to cinema. But having said that, I've never actually watched any of his movies. But to be honest, with the recommendation of one of my subscribers, I felt that it was time to give one of his movies a watch. So, what did I think of City Lights? To be honest, I really expected this to have all of the things that Charlie Chaplin was known for. Obviously it being a silent movie because he was known as one of the great silent movie stars. But obviously as well, for this movie to be really funny and for it to contain a lot of slapstick. And City Lights has them both. Now, I was definitely laughing throughout this film, but for the longest time there was no real scene that had me in absolute hysterics. That was until it came to the boxing scene, which, my god, it was so ridiculously funny. It was brilliantly choreographed, insanely funny, and easily my favourite scene in the whole film. And I really feel like I would have laughed even more in this scene had I not already seen it before. I believe I saw it in like a random YouTube video. I don't remember what the context was. All I remember is that I saw most of the scene in a YouTube video beforehand. Now, obviously, I knew this was going to be a silent film, except for, obviously, the music that accompanies the movie. But to be honest, I didn't know how many other sound effects were going to make its way into this film. Like, at the start, when the characters do this weird kind of thing when they're speaking, and as well, they make a slightly more high-pitched sound when a woman starts speaking. But it was only in this first scene, and then they don't do it ever again. And it begged the question as to why they even did it in the first place. And as well, obviously, they've got the title cards for the dialogue, which, honestly, I was kind of a little bit indifferent of, because they definitely helped to give more context to the scene. But to be honest, some of the places where they had these speech cards seemed a bit random. And to be honest, I wish they'd use them in different scenes, because there were some scenes which, honestly, it kind of slipped what was actually happening in the scene. But to be honest, I really feel this film actually didn't need any of these text cards. Because to be honest, this isn't the most nuanced or insanely detailed of plots. Basically, in a nutshell, a tramp befriends a drunk, wealthy man. He ends up trying to help a blind girl. He tries to raise money by taking up jobs and then eventually going in a boxing match. And then eventually his wealthy friend gives him some money unknowingly so he can actually, help the girl out. And that's pretty much the whole plot. But to be honest, I still feel that I would have got this whole thing without any of these text cards. Honestly, I would have had the whole film without any kind of dialogue, and I still feel it would have had the same impact. Because what Charlie Chaplin was able to do with every single visual in this film was incredible. But I gotta say as well, other than the boxing scene, the ending for this movie, I thought, was actually really good. I would say as well, another highlight for this film. And as well, I thought this was one of the main scenes which really did not need any text cards, because it's all shown in their facial expressions. This scene was phenomenal. I just feel it would have worked better without any kind of text cards. But really, it kind of just gave more insight into the scene. I don't feel it took that much away. Overall, guys, I found that I actually quite enjoyed this film. I can understand why silent movies may not be everyone's cup of tea, but I found that I actually quite enjoyed this one. I expected a little bit more slapstick, though. It was probably some of Charlie Chaplin's other movies that are more famous for their slapstick. Don't get me wrong, it definitely had some. I just don't feel it had as much as I was expecting it to have. While it was funny, I don't feel it was as funny as I was expecting it to be. But obviously, you can't necessarily hold that against the movie, because movies like this were pioneers for modern cinema. Because without films like this, we wouldn't have some of our greatest comedies. And if for no other reason, City Lights, for this reason alone, should be held in such high regard, like it obviously is. But do I think you guys should watch this one? Now, if you're not really interested in watching silent movies, then I would say just steer clear of this one. But honestly, if you really want to just kind of dip your toe into a piece of cinematic history, then I would say City Lights is definitely one you should watch. Okay guys, that's my review of City Lights. Do you love it? Do you hate it? What do you think I should watch next? Whatever it is, drop it in the comments below. Until next time, I've been Michael. See ya!